Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, today we've got a map from the BonBon buddies over on Patreon because it's Friday, and Friday is of course the day we turn to them for a select map. Now this one is a creator we have done twice in the past. Once they got no stars whatsoever, but that's not their fault. That was episode 26 of WhatsMap, and we didn't do stars back then. They did, however, get the blue ribbon, which is the precursor to the seal of approval. And then in episode 83, they got 13 stars and the seal of approval. So clearly lots of talent. However, we are turning back the clock some way here to 2016. So don't go expecting 2021 standards. Speaking of standards, I'm expecting very high standards from you today. You know what to do. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Kumejima, Japan by JukedBox. Yep, been a while since we've done a JukedBox map. This one, obviously one of those Japanese islands, but it's right off in the south. It's not just the main, let's just start square, not the main area of Japan, but if you go a long way, kind of like the Isles of Scilly in the United Kingdom, you know. There's your terrain heights, plenty of buildable space on that particular map, and then resources, it's field painting in little niddly bits, but it's all there, so you could use it. Yep. And if you have Sunset Harbour and want to do some fishing, look at those coves, whatever. We've got some really pretty shapes in there. I think credit. Long before there was Sunset Harbour. Off to the workshop. What do we need? No DLC is required today. We'll be using the natural beauty theme and the what LUT did we use? The Owls Cinematic HD LUT. That's the one we went with today. There's a few trees to subscribe to as well. Not too many. So yes, way back in the day before all of the magic mods came in and were changing our lives, we had to struggle. And you have to remember that with this particular map. This map would have been a struggle. Here we are. It's an island map and we have outside connections with a branch line heading on into the island that way as well. A couple of the tunnels, because Bloody Penguin clearly had his map tunnel enabler in place when this map was released. So yes, it's not a one-to-one scale, but having had a look at Google Earth, this is a pretty good rendition of it. I've got to say, it is. Yeah, not one-to-one, and there was certainly somebody in the comments grumbling that they'd like to see it one-to-one. How could you do this one-to-one? It would probably take up the entire 81 tiles. Anyway, the rail comes in there. We'll look at the rail in a little bit more detail in a moment. And the highways carry on this way. Now, there will be probably some trees under the highways. Again, this is, I don't know, when did Prop and Tree Anarchy and all that become available? I don't know when all these mods were originally released. I know, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Move It was after this map was released, so we didn't have the benefit of Move It back then. So you have to remember that all of this was done with, well, the vanilla tools, I guess. So we're going to some standards here, really. When you turn the, but we will be rating today's map by today's standards, which is a little bit unfair, but it's the only fair way of doing it. So we'll do that with also a little nod and appreciation of the effort it would take to have got to the standard you're seeing here. If you ever played vanilla, you'll know how hard this would be just to get to this level. Heading down to an intersection, which we will be taking a left. So again, it's a very clunky look to it going on here. Oh, and by the way, please note, BonBon remember to switch on the left-hand driving, because Japan. He never remembers. He finally did. Ah, I must be getting experienced. We have some trees encroaching onto the road there. Not a huge problem. Take the bulldozer to it. It's gone. It's cleaned up. That's if you want to play this map. I think the selection of trees for today's map is excellent. It's having done the Japanese map myself, trying to find trees that actually fitted with the biome was I would say it was fun. I'm not saying it was hard, but it was fun. And so yes, having done that, I was pleased with my end results, and I think JukedBox should be quite pleased with theirs. Very clunky looking bridge here. That can be done in vanilla a little bit better than that, but yeah, we can let these things go, can't we? And then start square intersection, plopped vanilla wishbone. Very nice. Switch on the lines of terrain so we can have a look and see how flat the land is. It slopes away, but it's not the steepest. And we have some flat buildable space in there as well. Yeah, I would say that you could do... Well, this is Japan. This is Japan. And it does feel like Japan as well. The shapes of the mountain... Oh, hang on. Is this blue mantle? Oh, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Little bit of early blue mantle there from JukedBox. Remember though, this is a creator who was setting standards long before there were even standards. You know, long before. Those were heady days back then. And you have a look at the most popular maps on the workshop from those days. They were quite simplistic. I mean, they were nice. Don't get me wrong. They were nice and they were good and they were way better than the vanilla ones that came with the box. But they were simplistic. A little bit of jinky janky there, a bit of early jinky janky there. That would be janky because that's going right with the traffic. And then a big old bridge there. Everybody loves a big old bridge to allow shipping to go through. We'll be checking that shipping route in a moment. And a little bit more encroaching foliage here and there. It's not too bad. And again, remember these were days before you could drag move it box over it and just like highlight the trees and just see which ones shone through, and you can just easily remove them. You'd have to know the tree was there, and by the time you built the road over it, you may have forgotten. You may not even notice, you may not even care, because why would you care? Because 2016. Wow, those were days. I was, you know, in 2016 I was 5 years younger. I know, right? I know you haven't aged today either. Oh yeah, look at you, you're blessing. You beautiful, beautiful person. Tuck that belly away, will you? Okay, just following the highways across very nicely as swishing across here. That's the highway, the rail, and then it goes a little bit roller coaster, just a little bit. But again, I think we can let this go considering everything. And then we got a little junction over here. It's an ugly little junction, and could done with some flat terrain. But again, I'm not going to moan today. Not on a map like this one. Intermission time. See you after this message.
Are you confused with the difference between a mod and an asset? And what's the deal between a theme and a LUT? Then you need BonBonB's Beginner's Guide to Mods, Assets, Themes, and LUTs. Click the information button now.
And so back to the shipping routes at Kumejima by Japan by JukedBox. One shipping route goes around this way, like this, and bends around that way. Follows the outside of the island, goes over the hidden tunnels there, because tunnels should really be hidden. You don't want them in plain sight. And then heads off the edge of the map over there. Then you have another shipping route comes in this way, and this is going to go through the pass underneath the big old bridge. The bridge looks high enough to me, but we've possibly got some shipping clipping against that end pillar there. Anything coming through the side of that, we'll brush past it. Won't affect the game. Oh, this looks interesting. Looks very shallow there with the sand. Yeah, arguable. Debate on that one. I'll leave you to decide whether that's a problem. Water flow. We've got water flow through the start square from this little river. Again, this looks like it's probably going to be enough to get you started until you can buy down into the coast. And look, the water flows into this into the bay, and then out through the sandbanks, and it pushes all the way out. I think there's good water flow there. So yeah, all credit for an early map. Right, overall, let's have a look. Now, I'm loving the aesthetics generally, but by 2021 standards, these are a little bit overdone. I think they're overdone. They could do like a smoothing tool just to just to edge it out a little bit. I mean, but the visuals are strong. There's no argument that the visuals are very strong indeed. So I think, again, we can give credit for that. Very striking map, and striking in a good way. Just also a bit clunky in places, but you've got to expect that. You've got to expect it. Over here, this is where the third highway nips out, and again, the undersea detailing. I mean, it looks good from a certain range, but then when you're getting a bit closer, you can see how deep it really is, and it just lacks, let's say, finesse is a word we use quite a bit, and it lacks that. The field painting, where you can very clearly see where you can drill for oil and whatever, it's a bit of a patchwork, but again, I think that's definitely usable. I love the theme, of course I love the theme. Theme and luck combo work very nicely together, and the tree detailing works really very nicely with the cliff. The cliff faces have mostly been left open, and we're getting a really strong effect from it. And I'm going to give all of the credit to JukedBox there. I didn't do any of that myself, but no, credit for that one. Again, setting standards before we even had standards. What more have we got? If we were to follow this highway off this way, this is the one we came in on, we're just going straight on this way. You see the island in the distance there? That is clearly where our highway is going to head off to. A little bit awkward going over the sea like this. Not an easy thing. Oh, and we've got, yeah, it wouldn't be the same without one, would it? It wouldn't. There is an essential lighthouse or two as well. We're not going to feature those today. Are we? No, we're not. No. Anyway, we've got tunnels over here which just drop away into the void. But again, it's way outside. Nobody's going to notice those. And they will link across to this island over here. Which, again, it's for an edge of map island, for a connection. That is perfectly adequate. Right, okay. Good shape map. Good looking map. Pleasing map, and a start square with a very pleasing asset of the day. Of course it's pleasing, because it's a stately bleeming home from the United Kingdom. Yeah, not a zillion miles from where I live. More than an hour's drive, but not a zillion. I could drive here if I wanted to in a day, if I wanted to. It's Stately Homes, Braymore House by McWelshman, over in the New Forest, famed for its wild ponies. And they're so wild, they get so cross. They get so cross, they do. Especially when I forget to read the factoids. Factoids because factoids. Some moral purists in the Middle Ages believed that a woman's ears ought to be covered up because the Virgin Mary had conceived a child through them. I have no words. I have no words. I mean, back then, of course, science because science, factoids because factoids. Yes, cover your ears, ladies. Cover your ears. BonBon's gonna get you PG. You poor things. Stately Homes, Braymore House by McWelshman. That's a great selection of stately homes. Do check out their workshop for all of that. Thanks, McWelshman. What a top creator they are. What a top creator. Speaking of top creators, JukedBox. They created this all that time ago. And all these years on, you get to vote on it. What do you think of it? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of this month? Only you can decide. Click the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen. It'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Gmail, Apple or a Patreon account. How you choose to rate it, whether it be by today's standards or by yesterday's standards, that's your decision. Me, I'm going to rate it by today's standards, and aesthetically, I think it's strong. I think it's strong, you know, even by today's standards. I'm going to go 4 stars, and I'm going to go down the middle 4 stars. I think it's striking. Could do with polish. What do you expect? Detailing, yes, we have to be a bit tight on the detailing. It was a result to get it this good, I think, actually, given the time. But by today's standards, I can't go higher than 2, but I'm going to go for a high 2. It was a valiant effort. Gameplay potential. Yeah. Why not? Why? I think I've got to go 4 stars again, you know? It feels like a 4-star map. I'm going to go bottom end, though, because there's a lot of cleaning up to do. So, yeah, very low 4 stars for gameplay. Kumejima, Japan by JukedBox. Won't be going for the seal of approval on this one because time has moved on and I could recommend a whole bunch of similar maps which are superior by today's standards. But by yesterday's standards, those map creators wouldn't have got anywhere close to these. They wouldn't. JukedBox led the way. Well, amongst others. Right, okay, well, if you've had your fill, you must be full, which means you can now prove that you're part of the 20 and out elite. Use the word of the day into the comments to score some population points just for fun. Use it as part of a sentence if you can, just to hide it from the populace. And I'll be back tomorrow with a special What Map.